All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we're taking a deep dive into prophecy.
Ooh, prophecy.
And trust me, this one's going to make you think.
I'm excited.
So, remember how you all wanted us to really dig into what prophecy actually is?
Yeah, yeah?
Well, we did. And we came across some fascinating research by Michael Doling,
Oh, fascinating.
who basically turns our whole understanding of time on its head.
Time, right.
Yeah, like, he asked this really wild question.
What's that?
What if the past, present, and future, what if they're all happening
All at the same time?
at the same time? Yeah.
Wow.
Right, like, boom, mind blown.
Yeah, that's a big one to pass.
It is. So how does he even approach this?
Well, he starts by looking at a couple of really important ideas from physics,
Okay.
entropy and relativity.
All right, entropy, relativity.
Let's start with entropy.
Okay.
So think about this. You drop a glass, it shatters.
It smashes everywhere.
Shatters into a million pieces, right? Now, can you picture those pieces like magically reassembling themselves?
Back into a glass.
Yeah, back into a whole glass again. It just doesn't work that way.
No.
In the real world, that is. Unless you've got some crazy movie special effects going on.
Right, right.
That's because of entropy.
Entropy.
It's like this universal rule, this tendency for things to go from order to disorder.
Okay.
And we experience time moving forward because we see this increase in entropy all around us.
So, it's why we age.
Exactly.
Things break down. You can't, unspill milk.
Exactly. You can't unscramble an egg.
Yeah.
It's all entropy, this one-way direction of time.
Wow. So we're basically stuck on this this one-way street of time.
You could say that.
Because things just keep getting...
Messier, more chaotic.
Yeah.
But here's where things get even more interesting.
Getting more interesting.
Einstein's theory of relativity comes in.
Relativity?
And it tells us that time, well, it's not this fixed, absolute thing we think it is.
What?
It's relative to the observer's speed and position.
Hold on. So how fast I'm moving actually affects how quickly time passes for me.
Exactly.
I need an example for this. My brain's not getting it.
Okay, picture this. Two astronauts, twins.
Okay,
One stays here on Earth.
Uh-huh.
The other blasts off into space, traveling super, super fast, close to the speed of light.
Okay.
When that traveling twin comes back home,
Yep.
they've aged less
Less than the twin on Earth.
than the twin who stayed on Earth.
Whoa.
It's mind-blowing, right?
Yeah, so time actually slowed down for the twin who was zooming through space.
That's the essence of relativity.
Okay, so time is like a dimension.
Yeah, like a dimension.
It's all woven together with space.
It's called space-time, this
Space-time.
fabric. And how we move through it, it affects how we experience time.
Wow, this is really making me rethink everything I thought I knew about time.
It's a game changer, for sure.
But hold on. How does all of this connect back to prophecy?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
This is where those mind-bending ideas about the past, present, and future, all smashing together, come in.
Okay, so you're saying...
If time isn't this rigid straight line...
Right.
The past,
present, and future are...
They're all existing simultaneously.
Whoa.
In some crazy way.
Okay, so are you saying, prophets aren't predicting the future. They're just tapping into a reality...
Where it already exists.
Where it already exists. That's wild.
That's the idea Doling proposes?
And that changes how we think about prophecy.
Completely.
So these events, they're not, set in stone.
Not necessarily.
They're more what possibilities?
Yeah, possibilities.
In this big simultaneous now.
Exactly.
So how does someone, like a prophet, how do they access this cosmic now?
That's where things get really, really interesting.
Okay.
The idea is that they're somehow able to perceive...
Perceive what?
These possibilities, these key moments within this larger reality. Imagine, a vast cosmic film where every moment is a frame, and they're getting glimpses of certain frames.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
That's powerful.
So I bet those glimpses, they often focus on those really big picture moments.
Absolutely.
Moments that have shaped history.
Exactly.
And how we understand... Well, everything...
The rise and fall of empires. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So instead of predicting what I'm going to have for dinner tonight...
Right, not the everyday stuff.
It's about those major turning points, the themes that keep popping up throughout history.
Exactly, those grand narratives
Yeah.
that run through time.
Okay, but this raises so many questions.
No.
If the future is already out there in some form...
Yeah.
What does that mean for free will?
The big question.
Right, do our choices even matter?
That's something people have been debating for centuries.
But
what if free will isn't about...
Changing the future.
Yeah, changing the fundamental fabric of reality.
Okay.
What if it's about...
Choosing within what already exists?
Making choices within that framework, yeah.
So it's less about changing the script and more about how we play our part.
Precisely.
Okay.
And in a reality where all these moments exist together,
Yeah.
that could mean
There's tons of possibilities.
an incredible number of paths we could take.
Okay, yeah.
Think of it like being an actor in a play.
Okay.
You can't change the plot,
Right.
but you get to choose how to deliver your lines,
Mm-hmm.
how to portray your character,
Right.
and that can make a world of difference in how the story unfolds for you.
Okay. Wow. My brain is officially bending.
I told
This
you!
is a lot to take
It
in, but
is.
it's
I
fascinating.
find it fascinating too.
I have so many more questions though.
I don't blame you.
This
It's a
is
lot to process.
Yeah.
But I think that's the beauty of a deep dive like this.
Yeah.
It opens up new ways of thinking
Right.
about things we might just take for granted.
Right.
And who knows, maybe it even reveals a deeper truth.
A deeper truth.
About ourselves
Yeah.
and our place in this grand cosmic story.
So we've been talking about this idea that prophecy isn't about predicting the future,
Right.
but more about getting these glimpses into a reality where all of time exists at once.
This cosmic now idea.
Yeah, this cosmic now, but how do we actually see that play out?
Well, I think looking at some specific prophecies can be helpful.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Let's start with the prophecy of the Messiah in Isaiah.
Okay, Isaiah.
It was written centuries before Jesus was born.
Right.
And yet it has these incredibly specific details about his life.
Yeah, his ministry, even his suffering.
Exactly. And from a traditional view, that seems like, straight up predicting the future.
With crazy accuracy, yeah.
Right. But if we're thinking about the simultaneous now idea,
Yeah.
it becomes something completely different.
Okay, so instead of predicting...
Isaiah could be describing what he's actually seeing in this larger reality.
So he's not foretelling the future.
Right.
He's more like reporting.
Yeah, reporting on what he's seeing.
In this vast, timeless expanse.
Exactly.
Okay. But if we're saying the future is already out there in some way,
yeah.
Does that mean everything is predetermined? Is everything set in stone?
Well, that's a question that's been debated for a really long time.
Yeah, I bet.
But remember, we're talking about possibilities within a vast web of moments.
Okay.
It's not that every little detail is fixed.
Right. Okay.
But rather that certain key events, certain turning points,
yeah, those big moments.
they might already be woven into this cosmic now.
So Isaiah might be seeing those key moments, those events that really shape history.
Exactly.
Not every little detail, but the major themes.
Right, those overarching narratives.
This is starting to make more sense to me.
Good.
What about some other examples? What about the book of Daniel?
Oh, Daniel, yeah.
That one's got all those crazy visions and symbols.
It's a great example of how prophecy can work on, on different levels.
Different levels, okay?
You've got the visions that seem to line up with historical events.
Like the rise and fall of empires, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got those more symbolic visions.
Yeah, the apocalyptic ones, the one that everyone's always trying to figure out.
Right.
So how do we make sense of those visions?
Well, if we're thinking about time as multidimensional,
yeah.
We can look at those major themes in Daniel.
Okay, the theme.
Kingdoms in conflict, the battle between good and evil, the ultimate triumphs of God's kingdom.
Right.
From this cosmic perspective, these themes could represent those enduring struggles.
So even if the details are tricky,
right,
the underlying message is about these universal struggles.
Exactly. Forces that play out on a cosmic scale.
Wow. That's pretty profound.
It is, isn't it?
It makes me think about Revelation.
Revelation.
Another book that's full of all these cryptic visions and prophecy.
Lots of debate about that one.
Right. Tons of debate about the end of the world.
The end time?
Right. So does this whole cosmic now idea help us understand those apocalyptic visions?
It definitely offers an interesting perspective.
Okay.
Remember Doling's point about God existing outside of space and time?
Yeah.
If that's the case, then the entire timeline of the universe from beginning to end could be like a single moment for God.
So the end times, from that view, wouldn't be some distant future event.
Right.
It would already be present within this larger reality.
It's a mind-bending concept, for sure.
It really is.
Yeah. And it suggests that those prophecies in Revelation, maybe they're not about giving us a precise timeline.
Okay.
Or predicting a specific sequence of events.
So they're more about what?
Maybe they're about revealing the ultimate direction of history.
Okay, the grand finale.
Right, the climax that everything's moving toward.
Whoa, this is heavy stuff.
It is.
It feels like we're getting these glimpses behind the curtain of reality.
Yeah.
And it's so vast and complex that it's hard to even wrap my head around it.
It's a lot to process, that's for sure.
It really is. Yeah, but I think it's worth it.
I think so too.
It's pushing us to think beyond our usual assumptions.
Absolutely.
And it's opening our minds to the possibility that there's just so much more to reality.
Than they realize.
Yeah, than we can even imagine.
It makes you wonder, what would we see if we could step outside of our normal experience of time?
What would we understand?
Yeah, what would be revealed?
It's a lot to think about.
It is.
I think we need a moment to let all of this sink in.
Yeah, take a breath.
This deep dive has really stretched my brain,
It's been a journey.
but it's been incredible.
It has.
So what about you all listening?
Yeah, what's resonating with you?
What questions are popping up for you as we explore all these mind-bending concepts? I don't know about you, but my head is still spinning a little bit.
Yeah, it's a lot to process.
It really is. It's like we've been, looking at the world through this tiny little keyhole.
A tiny window.
Yeah, and suddenly we realize there's this whole universe out there that we never even knew existed.
That we couldn't even imagine.
Exactly. So where do we even go from here? Like, how do we even start to make sense of all this?
Well, I think the first step is just to cultivate a sense of wonder.
Wonder.
Yeah, to be afraid to ask the big questions.
Right.
To challenge the things you think, to really explore those ideas that might seem strange.
Or even a little scary, right?
Yeah, even scary, because sometimes those are the ideas that lead to the most amazing discoveries.
It's like we're being invited to become explorers, not just of the physical world,
Right.
but of reality itself.
Exactly.
So where can we find those guys? Who are the explorers that can help us on this journey?
Well, if you're fascinated by the intersection of science and spirituality,
Yeah.
there are some amazing physicists out there who are doing some really groundbreaking work.
Like who?
Well, Brian Greene, for example.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
And Michio Kaku.
Yeah, he's amazing.
They're both really pushing the boundaries of what we thought we knew about the universe.
They talk about things like string theory and quantum mechanics, right?
Exactly, and they explore the nature of time in a way that's just mind-blowing.
But also really inspiring, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And for those who are more drawn to, like, the theological side of things,
right.
there's a whole rich tradition of exploring prophecy and what it means for our understanding of God.
Yeah, and humanity and the universe as a whole.
Exactly.
There are so many resources out there to dive into.
Ancient texts, modern scholarship, all sorts of interpretations.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing is to approach all of it with an open mind.
Right.
And be willing to engage with different perspectives.
It's not about finding all the answers.
No, not at all.
It's about embarking on this journey of discovery.
Exactly.
A journey that might just lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in this grand cosmic story.
I love that, a journey of discovery.
So what about you, dear listener? If this deep dive has sparked something in you, don't let that flame go out.
Yeah, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep diving deeper.
You're looking for those things that really make you think, that stretch your imagination.
Because you never know what you might find.
Exactly. And remember, this is just the beginning.
Yeah, the beginning of a much bigger adventure.
Every question we ask, every insight we gain, every step we take on this journey
It brings us closer to a richer, more profound understanding
of the universe and our place within it.
Until next time, keep seeking and keep diving deep.
And remember, the universe is full of wonders, just waiting to be uncovered.